The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin.
Hey everybody, this is 50 Shades of Bullshit, and I am your host, Christine Lalonde. Today we have a matchmaker from two Asian matchmakers, May. She has joined us today. Hello, May. How are you?
Hello, Christine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so great to see you again. I was actually a guest on May's podcast. I think it was, at least a year ago.
Yeah.
And at least it's been a while. And we talked about how I had a half Asian boyfriend and the struggles I had with his mother. Oh God. That was crazy. I have a little bit of a cold, so here we go. And our engineer is sicker than a dog too. Thank God she's here today, Rebel. So, hey, May, thank you for being here. We're very excited to have you. Today, we're actually going to talk about what men want in a woman in a marriage. Today is Christmas. Today is airing on Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Anybody who celebrates Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah to all of those who celebrate a different holiday. But May, you were coming on today to talk about, 10 things that men want in a relationship with a woman in their marriage. I'd love to start with, let's start with that. And then I'll have some questions as we go along.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And keep in mind, my business is two Asian matchmakers. So where we help men of all ethnicities who want to date Asian women. So this is like a disclaimer. My information might be a little skewed toward the men who want to date Asian women. So whether you have stereotypes about Asian women or not, like will kind of play into that. So yeah.
I love that. There's love in every culture, and we want to make sure that everybody feels included and knows that we care about, their love and where they find it. And I think it's amazing. You are primarily Asian matchmaking, correct?
Yes. I help men who want to find Asian women as their partners. Now,
what's that look like for you? How do you go about doing that? I'm very interested in that.
Well, it's the men are the paying clients and the women join my database for free. So it's mainly I work for the men who come to me and they kind of call the shots, right? They're in the driver's seat where they're telling me, hey, I want this, and this. And I try to find it for them. So if a woman meets 70% of the criteria that they put in front of me, then I would suggest the match if I interview the woman and interview the man and I feel like they're a good match for each other. So it could be men of all ages, 35 to 65, 75, who are looking for an Asian woman. So yeah.
Okay. So, I'm a modern woman. I'm all about equality in relationships. And I know that things can be a little bit different when you're looking at an Asian culture type marriage and the kind of dynamic in that. Do you think it's different now? Do you think that men are still looking for the Asian woman that's really going to really take care of the man's needs? Or do you think that they are more thinking about, a modern Asian woman and having more of an equal partnership? Or do you think it's more traditional?
I don't think the men who come to me are necessarily looking for an equal partnership. They want someone who brings peace and harmony into their lives. So they're not necessarily looking for a boardroom in the bedroom. They're looking for just having peace more than perfection. They want someone who's calm. They want someone who can self-regulate their emotions and not be so high-strung or so submissive, I guess the lack of a better word. They just want someone mellow and chill, and because they work so hard outside of the home, that when they come home, they're looking for their partner to be a complement to their lives and make things easier for them. So I don't know if that's different than the average American couple where they're craving an equal partnership in, you know, equal income, equal revenue that they make and what they're bringing financially to the table and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, you're gonna have to tell me if that's what you crave.
Well, here's the question. I think I see when I'm looking at an Asian woman who is going to be in a partnership with an Asian man. I think I have in my head more of a traditional situation where they take care of the home, they take care of the children, they're not so much working outside of the home, and they are really there to, this is not a great word, but I can't think of any other word, to serve the man.
Right.
Am
Yeah.
I correct in that?
No, that's very accurate, where a
Okay.
lot of times the men, let's say 90% of the men who come to me, whether they're Asian or Caucasian men, they're looking for a woman who's probably more traditional. He doesn't need her
Mm.
to be a CEO, doctor, lawyer, one of those high paying salary jobs. He's looking for someone who's, yeah, she could bring some financial income to the couple, but he's not necessarily even thinking that's important. Is it great that she has a BA degree? Yes. Is great if she's educated, comes from a good family, you know, her parents are still together, not divorced. That plays into it. So things like that, where the man they're coming to me asking for someone who is welcoming with traditional stuff. Like, it'd be great if she knows how to cook. If it's great if she likes to cook or enjoys cooking or doesn't mind cleaning and maintaining the home and just running the household, setting up their social events and have her lead in that kind of way and just maintain the household. Whereas he brings home the bacon and, you know, they could live on his income and he makes good money. And yeah, that's like a different
It's definitely
lifestyle that
different.
some people
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, I think it's definitely different because, coming as a um a, str- a strong independent American woman, I think when you're looking at men who are dating women in this modern culture that we live in now, a lot of men are saying, what do you bring to the table? A lot of men want women to be 50-50. They want them to have pay the bills, yet they want them to stay home and take care of the husband and the house and the children, and yet they still want the woman to provide too. And I have to say that, yes, I want an equal partnership when it comes to equality and caring about each other and putting in the effort. But, I think I'm a little more traditional too. Like, I want a man to provide and take care and not expect me to be 50-50 and put in half of my finances and then still take care of the kids and still take care of the home and still take care of the man. And it's not 50-50, it's 100% woman and 50% man, because man here and a traditional American style, they want to put in 50% of the income, but not 50% of, the effort to raise kids and keep the house up.
Yeah.
So I completely understand where you're coming from and that culture. And I don't see, I think that a lot of modern women would be offended by it. Or I think that a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's a kind of woman that is all about equality and oh,
Feminism?
yeah, that's the word. Thank you. My brain shut down. Feminism. I think a lot of feminist women would be offended by this, but you know what? It's the culture,
Yeah. Yeah, for
you know?
sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, we have men out there who are dating and who are in relationships, and they're like, you know what? I just want a woman that says, you know what? I love it when you come home and you give me a kiss on the cheek and you help me with this. Or instead of criticizing a man, like that's what we do with our date coaching with the men and women is like, hey, make sure you show appreciation and be open to that and be warm and have a calm voice and just the way you deliver messages, just be a good influence on that. So there's a lot of times where we forget to be appreciative of our partners. And that's one thing that I really, make sure the women are appreciative when they go out on a date, even like on a first date. There's so many times that the man comes back to me and say, wow, she didn't even appreciate me buying dinner and making the reservation and inviting her out. It's like, sometimes we just forget to say thank you, like the
Mm,
smallest things, right? Like after a date,
agreed.
it'd be nice if the woman texts the man and say, hey, you know what? That was a great place that you picked. I so appreciated that you invited me out and thank you so much for dinner. Like just that extra appreciation and being warm, like those things are so important to men. So they like that in Asian women.
Yeah, I think that they like that in all cultures.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that a lot of women don't do that. I when I go on a date, it is very much I say, "Oh my gosh, this is a beautiful place. This is so fun. I really appreciate you taking care of me, and dinner was really wonderful." And they look at me like, "Whoa, you just thanked me."
Yeah.
And I do agree that, it- I think that even men just being appreciative of how much it takes for a woman to get ready to go out, you
Yeah.
know, especially if, say you're an older couple, older, um, you're in an older group, age group,
Mhm.
and say there's, possibly blending of families. A woman could be having to pay for a babysitter, or they
Yeah.
have to get ready, they have to pick outfits, they have to do makeup, they have to get their nails done, they get their hair done. There's a lot that goes into a date, and men don't want women to just show up willy-nilly and not have done their hair or not have done their makeup, and they want them to look nice. So I think it kind of goes both ways. Do you think men in the culture that you are matchmaking, do you think that they are appreciative of the woman who puts in that kind of energy?
Yeah, absolutely. You said it. Like, I think all women and all men appreciate that. And men just don't get a lot of compliments or don't get a lot of, hey, great job, those kind of statements in their lives. So when you do
Mhm.
notice that they put in an extra effort in something, it's good to just say it like, wow, thanks for doing that. Thanks for walking me to my car. Or that was really nice place that you picked out. I mean, you knew I love Italian, but man, this Italian restaurant, did you like Google it and do some research? That's pretty impressive. I had a great time. Just
I love
go
it.
above and beyond to
Mhm.
recognize and thank them for the extra effort, I think goes a long way.
I think so. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the 10 things that you were talking to me about. What are some of the things? Let's start out with some of the things that they are looking for when they're looking for a match. And what I noticed that when you sent me information for the show, it said things that women could start practicing to find their person and to be in this type of relationship.
Yeah, before marriage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, emotional steadiness, men crave peace more than perfection. I remember that I was in Dallas, probably a month ago, and we had a singles mixer there, and we put the men on one side and the women on the other, and we asked the men like, "Hey, what are you looking for in a relationship? What are you looking for in a partner?" And it was so weird. I didn't think this was what they're looking for either, just sitting the men down and asking them. But 4 out of 10 guys mentioned I just want peace in the household. So men crave peace more than perfection. Like, does he need you to have a perfect household and everything's clean, everything is tidy in place? No, he just wants a nice, peaceful home to come to. So I think that is number one on my list, is that you just got to learn to pause before you react to something that's emotional so you can keep the peace in the relationship and the household, and kind of like not raising your voice, but having the emotional maturity to communicate something. And that's far more attractive than um, making sure your home is always nice and perfect. So that was one thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny that you say that because it just reminded me, I just retired from being a wedding planner. And that was a long 20 some years. Uh, and I remember I had an Asian couple that were sitting in my home having this meeting to talk about their wedding. And I remember he had to leave because he had to go do something for work, and she stayed to finish the meeting. And I remember her saying to me, I'm really struggling with something, because I said to her, if you ever need advice, I've been married a lot, a long time, and a couple of times. I have been married a couple of times, and more than a couple. And, I said, in my older age, I've kind of acquired some knowledge on, some things. And she said, well, this is the thing. He comes home and I want his attention, and I want his affection, and I want this and I want that. And I just don't feel like he's capable of giving it to me. I've been waiting all day for him to be home and to be here for me. And I said, listen, my best advice for you is come home. When he comes home, greet him at the door. Go and purposely greet him at the door. Tell him you missed him. Say, I hope you had a wonderful day. I said, then turn around and walk away. Go find something that you need to be engrossed into before he gets home. Even if it's 5 minutes before, get engrossed in it. When he comes home, make an effort to walk away from it. Show him that you are so excited to see him. Then place your attention back on what you were doing. I said, I guarantee him having to decompose will be a lot faster because you're not hanging on every word. You're not expecting something from him. You're not demanding something from him. I said, if you give him time to decompress and he sees that you're not all up in his business, I said, give him that minute. And sure enough, she calls me months later and says, it worked. She said, I got myself involved in something. I went and paid attention to him. Then I came back and he got done faster with his, because he kept saying, I need to decompress. I need to decompress. She said his decompression was really fast because he was like, what is she so busy with? And I told her, I said, it just kind of gives him the feeling that he's not pressured to focus on you when he's been constantly focusing on everybody else all day.
That's actually interesting. I have learned that over the years of my marriage, is right when my husband comes home, he needs time to just relax and just do his own thing, whether he's on the phone or return emails or phone calls, and he just needs that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just greet him. I usually greet him at the door and say hi, and then I let him do his thing for like an hour. And then I go back and be like, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner? What do you want to have? What do you think? So I'm not bombarding him with those questions right when he comes through the door. So I get that. But I did not go and do something that I'm engrossed in to, come back. And I maybe I should do that too, what you said.
Well,
But
she
yeah.
was like, I'm so antsy. All I want is his attention. And I said, I go, is he pushing you away? And she's like, yeah, he's pushing me away. He's like, why can't you have your own thing? I said, so have your own thing. So she did finally do that, and it helped, she said.
Yeah.
What are some other advice that we
Yeah,
can
the
give?
second thing was warm communication. Men don't respond well to criticism. They open up to appreciation. So we kind of talked about that before we started. So say things like, I love it when you do this, instead of, you never take me out to dinner, but say, I love it when you plan a dinner for us and make reservations, or just show, warm tone, calm timing, kind delivery. So that's, men and women don't respond well to
Mm,
criticism. I know when my husband criticizes me on, for example, like putting dishes in the dishwasher a certain way, I'm like, dude, I'm the one that does the dishwasher. I empty it. I put things in there. Why don't you just not comment on it? Because you don't need to, right? Like, it
right.
seems like that's an unnecessary criticism where it could be, he should just, zip it. So yeah, no one likes
I,
criticism.
Exactly. I think that, we as people in general tend to see the things that people don't do for us instead of appreciating or acknowledging the things that are done on a daily.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go around saying, oh, I love the way you smacked my ass. But, it's like you have to appreciate, even in any kind of relationship, you have to appreciate what the other person does for you. Now, maybe after you've acknowledged all the things they do, then that's the time to maybe set some time aside to sit down together and say, how much I appreciate you. I appreciate you every day. I tell you all the wonderful things you do for me. It's not that you don't, but I'm needing a little something else. And my need is this. And, open communication, I think, helps.
Well, instead of saying but, you can say and.
Did
So
I say but?
yes, you
I
did.
try. I try to say and instead of but. I
Yeah.
try. That's a hard one to catch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so the third thing is gratitude and graciousness. So
Mhm.
high caliber men are drawn to women who notice their effort. We talked about that a little bit, where you express thanks verbally in a text or with small gestures.
Right.
Appreciation builds confidence. Criticism erodes connection. So we talked about that, where men don't get a lot of compliments. So for you to compliment them or express gratitude in something that they've done on the date or day-to-day stuff, they really appreciate that. And just to acknowledge it is a good little gesture. So
I agree with that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Everybody needs to feel like they're doing something wonderful for somebody,
yeah, yeah.
even if it's the small things. I agree.
So number 4 is self-care and confidence. So confidence is quiet self-assurance. It's not
Mhm.
arrogance.
Mhm.
So for you to attract men, you should take care of your body, mind, and energy, because men want a partner who radiates grounded self-love. Like if you are
Absolutely.
disciplined and you go to the gym every day, and no matter what, like if he's trying to sabotage your gym hour, you say, no, I need to do this for myself. I'm a better person when I go. And if you show that kind of self-care and discipline, it's attractive. It's like, oh, wow, like that's important to her. She's making it a priority to look good for me or to look good for herself. So you can't go wrong with that by setting boundaries and doing what you need to do, because that's something you want to do for yourself. The worst thing you do is kind of like when I was in my 20s, right? I would skip the gym if a guy wanted to go out to dinner with me. So instead of saying, you know what, I need to go to the gym, I'm going to take a rain check, the old May in my 20s would be like, oh, yeah, I could skip the gym. I'll just go out to dinner with him because, you want to please a guy. But it's
Right.
actually more desirable for you to not skip the gym and go to the gym and then meet him afterwards or take a rain check. So.
Do you think when you're matchmaking, are you also matchmaking people from other countries? Are you mainly focusing here in the U.S.?
Both actually. If a guy wants me to search for women in Asia, I also
Mm,
connect with other matchmakers in other countries to set them up. So it depends
interesting.
on how wide they want me to search, and I'll do what they want me to do. So yeah.
Okay. I'm just curious because when you were saying, do you think that a lot of 20, 30-ish women are in the Asian culture are hitting the gym a lot? Or do you think that they're just so naturally freaking skinny?
Well, they do yoga or they do Pilates
Oh, I love
or
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, they have some kind of self-care ritual or maybe meditation, like don't skip meditation because a guy wants to take you out to breakfast. You say, no, this is my meditation time or
Mhm.
whatever that may be. So yeah, they have different things that they do. Maybe they go running or go hiking or yeah.
I think it is desirable when you look at another person and they say, "Oh, I'd love to see you, but I have this self-care thing first."
Yeah.
I think that is valuable because if they know that they're putting themselves as a priority to feel good and look good for themselves, it's also going to reflect on the relationship. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
personally, I love that.
The next thing, number 5, is domestic confidence. Cooking or creating a warm home isn't about serving, quote unquote, serving. It's about creating a nurturing environment and peace.
Mm,
So I always tell the women, like, hey, if you don't know how to cook, you should learn how to cook. I mean, for yourself and for your future and for your kids or your family or your husband.
mhm.
But learning how to cook and saving money by eating in and going to the grocery store to buy things and create things. I mean, really, what is cooking? Just following instructions. It's just
Right.
looking at a recipe and you just try to do it. So, learning a few go to meals or hosting a party for your partner and his friends, that's an attractive thing to do. That's showing that you could be a good social person and to run a house and to entertain his boss or friends or just have that confidence to cook like just 3 types of entrees that you're good at. It could be like chicken fettuccine alfredo from scratch, or
Right.
it could be like pork chops that you make with a little bit of lemon, or it could be like orange chicken that you fry and whatever. Like it's just great to be feminine and learn how to cook and cook a few things. It's just a good life skill. And
It is.
I will be the first to admit that I was married or I was with my husband for I think maybe like 8 years. And one day he's like, "Why don't you cook? Like, why don't you know how to make anything?" Like he just got mad. And I was like, "Well, you never asked me to cook. Like, I didn't know you wanted me to cook." But ever since he made that one comment, yeah, it was a criticism, right? I didn't like it, but I was like, "Oh, I guess I could cook." So now
Right.
I cook all our meals. I do all the shopping. I know what he likes. I make the food and he appreciates it. Like he
I love
likes
that.
to be taken care of, right? And I like to take care of him in that way. So, yeah,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
guess I'm just a domestic goddess in that way. I'm
Yes,
just
you
kidding.
are my queen. I'll tell you what, when men find out that I am a part-time chef
Yeah,
and they are like, "What? You cook?" And it's like,
I
well, yeah,
know.
first of all, I grew up with my grandmother and my mother teaching me how.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is that none of my kids wanted to learn from me. None of my daughters wanted to learn cooking from me. But my older two, they cook for their families now, and I think that they did kind of observe, and they do call me, and say, "Hey, how did you do this again?" And I remember calling my mom forever and ever going, "Hey, I'm about to do that pot roast again. What
Yeah.
temperature did we cook that on?" Having that is amazing, but If you don't, there's a lot of YouTube videos that teach you
Mhm.
how to make things. You could go to a cooking class, maybe even if you want to with your partner. I think going to cooking classes with your partner is an amazing thing, because even though, say men want this in this culture, want women to cook, it you never know. The woman might want the man to do this for her once in a while too,
Yeah.
or get in the kitchen with her.
Yeah. No, I think it's very, attractive when a man knows how to cook, right? I mean,
Me
how
too.
great is that? Like, on the 3rd date, he says, "You know what? Come over, I'm gonna make you steaks," or whatever. Like, that's
Right.
very attractive. He can grill or he can make stuff on, the stove. I mean, that's not a bad thing to know how to cook, whether you're a guy or a
Agree.
girl. And that leads us to number 6, where financial partnership. Successful men appreciate women who understand money and responsibility. So it goes back to, yeah, cooking is way cheaper. If you make food at home, it's going to cost like 200% if you eat out. Like, eating out is so expensive, right? It's
Right.
crazy. I mean, even Chipotle costs like $12 per person, but if you go to a restaurant, you're not going to leave the restaurant spending less than like $70, $80 for a decent meal with drinks,
Exactly.
maybe one appetizer or no appetizers.
Hmm.
So it's a good thing to be good with your finances and be responsible, because if you're dating a woman, I'm talking to the men, if you're dating a woman who likes all the Louis Vuitton bags or Coach bags and Kate Spade and all that stuff, and if
Hmm.
she doesn't make money, good money on her own, when you get married, you're going to have to support her shopping habits and
Right.
all that stuff. So it's nice to see a woman who appreciates money and to not spend above her means, because you're going to be partnering with this person. And if she has tons of credit card debt and spends above her
Hmm.
means, you're going to inherit all that. So just being smart with your money is very, very attractive. So yeah.
Well, I have an instance. This is very funny that you mentioned this, because I just did a wedding, an Asian wedding, the beginning of October, and they were a referral from a separate Asian wedding that happened like 4 years ago. And the man is Asian. I think he's ooh, either Vietnamese or Korean, and he married a Latin girl. Okay. And I was very excited to see them. And I saw him first because he was one of the groomsmen and his wife was coming to the wedding. And I said to him, hi, how's it going? How's the marriage? How's everything going? Because I think they got married in June of 22. So it's been 3 years,
Yeah.
3.5 years. And I'm thinking he's going to say it's been amazing. He said that first year we almost didn't make it. And I said, why? I'm very curious what happened to deter the growth in that first year. He said, she never told me about her debt. He
See?
said she was a spender above her means,
Yeah.
and she was in a lot of debt, and she did not tell me. So when we got married, I accumulated that debt. He said, and not only did I accumulate that debt, all the money that I had been saving to put towards a home had to go to fix her credit and
Yeah.
fix her debt before we could get a home. And he goes, it just pissed me off.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. Even if as a woman, if a man comes into the relationship with debt and he overspends and he doesn't know how to manage his finances and he expects me to fix it, that's just not okay. It's just not okay for either way.
Yeah.
Communication when it comes to money, I think, is a massive part of any kind of relationship.
Mhm. I mean, with matchmaking, I do ask the questions that, do you spend above your means? What do you spend your disposable income on? If you won the lottery, what would you do? Like, all those are telltale signs of how someone treats money. And
Mhm.
you can ask them questions as you're dating. You can say, hey, are there any financial gurus you follow? Like, are there, do you follow Dave Ramsey? Do you follow whatever? Like, if someone has some kind of knowledge about that, or what's your philosophy on money? Like, that can tell a lot about somebody. And I mean, I'm just very lucky that my husband and I are both pretty smart with our money. We have 0 credit card debts. We don't like to spend above our means. We're not that we're cheap, but we're smart.
Right.
Like, if I still think about buying this, really nice bike after 2 weeks, okay, I'll buy it. But I don't want to put on my credit card. I want to pay for it in cash. So that's important. Like, how you view money. I mean, that's probably the number one thing that breaks up marriages, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I agreed. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's your next thing?
Okay, number 7, respecting masculine energy. Men want to feel trusted and admired, not micromanaged. So asking, can you walk me through your thought process instead of correcting him? Respect invites leadership. Criticism kills connection. I keep going back to criticism kills connection, because you want to respect the guy and let him be masculine, let him feel like he's admired and trusted, and all those things are important. And if there's like something in your house that you think a guy should do, like getting up on a ladder and changing the light bulb, you should ask him to do it. It's okay to let him do it and to make him feel appreciated, versus you just grab a ladder and you just go up there yourself and you act like you don't need a guy. I remember early in my matchmaking career, women would say, well, I don't need a guy, so I'm not desperate to hire a matchmaker. I'm like, if that's your attitude when you talk to a matchmaker, then that's not the way to attract a man. Like, how you attract a man is to sleep on one side of the bed, so you're making room for him, right? For another person. And B, that you say that, you know what, I would love a man to complement my life. I'm not in a desperate need for him to like financially help me with my life, but it would be great. I would love a guy to go and do things with and spend holidays with. Like, if you can verbally say that and admit that and tell your friends and family that you want that and be vulnerable about it, then the universe might deliver that to you. So it's okay to admit that you want a guy in your life, because the people we have the most success with, whether it's a man or a woman, are the ones who come to us and say, you know what, I really want to find a spouse. The ones who say they want it.
Right. I went out dancing one time with a bunch of friends, and there was a girl in our workout group that went with us, and she was very pretty and young. She was in her late 20s, whatever. She was, independent and single. And I remember this man, he was like really cute, and he was hitting on her, and he was trying to do this banter, and she just flat let him know, I'm independent. I can do this by myself. I don't need a man for this or that. And I just saw him just shrink. I physically watched him shrink. And then he just was like, okay. And he just walked away. And I don't see a woman losing any kind of independence if she likes some sort of independence. But if you want a relationship in any way, shape, or form, you have to be willing to let the partner come in and be a part of your life in some way. And if that means taking certain things of your life and making it their responsibility, like you said, getting on the ladder and going up and changing the light bulb, she would have been, oh no, I got this myself, and you're right. Men need to feel like they're the hunters still. They still need to feel like that they're in that masculine role. And even though women nowadays can do it all themselves, I'm not saying lose yourself. I'm saying if you want to be in a relationship with a man, you do have to allow him to become that masculine energy in your life. You can't have all masculine, feminine energy, in the woman, and all masculine energy over here. It doesn't work. If you even in a gay and lesbian relationship, they still have opposite roles. And I think a lot of women in straight heterosexual relationships, if they're an independent woman, tend to lose that.
Yeah.
And they think they have to take care of everything themselves because they're so used to doing it. And I think men are just getting soft in certain ways and just going, whatever, if a woman wants to be that way. But no, there's certain things that you have to do to allow a woman to be feminine and a man to be masculine. And I know that may sound weird to some people, but I agree with you. You have to let them give that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay to walk up to the door and just stop and let him open the door. I mean, I let my husband open the door. I do not mind him opening my car door. In fact, I wish he would do it more often. So, but yeah, those
Mhm.
things, I like it. I like being like the girl in the relationship and feminine. So,
I hear a lot of men. It's funny that you say the door thing because I hear a lot that men are like, "Oh, I like to open the door for a woman, but woman always gets mad at me."
ugh,
And when a man opens the door for me in public, any man opens the door for me, I always look and say, "Oh my goodness, that is so thoughtful. Thank you so much."
yeah, I
And
like
I
it.
make almost a big deal out
Yeah.
of saying thank you because I want men to know that there are plenty of us out there who love it.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Number 8, curiosity about his world.
Mhm.
Ask about his passions, his work, his goals. Be genuinely curious. This builds emotional safety and admiration. And I think this is especially is true for women who are hot. Like attractive women should just not skate by with their looks on dates. I feel like some of
Mhm.
these hot women that I set up, they're boring. They're not even asking the men about their lives on the dates. They just
Exactly.
act like, well, it's a privilege for him to take me out because I'm hot and I look good, and he should be thankful he's seen with me in public. But this is especially true for hot women, I think, is that you need to like build up your personality and make
Agreed.
sure you're as beautiful inside as you
Mhm.
are outside. I mean, it's a
Yes.
bummer when I meet beautiful women and they don't even try to like ask a guy on a date about their interests. All they care about is themselves. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that in general, how can you be married to somebody if all they are is so consumed with themselves that they don't even care about, what is happening in your daily life or your personal life? That's kind of weird, I think, to me that there wouldn't be some kind of interest from both sides. It's sad.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
sad.
Number 9 is my favorite. It's playfulness and affection.
Mhm.
And men love women who bring joy, not constant intensity. Like they love if a woman flirts with them, laughs with them, plays with them, and just
Right.
not take life so seriously. And I feel like the best way for a woman to be playful and to be funny or humorous is just laugh at his jokes. Like if he's trying to make a joke on a
Right.
date, that's all you need to do. You don't need to be funny. He can try to be funny and you just laugh at his jokes and he will think that you have a great sense of humor because you just think he's funny. So, and of course affection, right? Physical touch and affection is one of the love
Right.
languages that men pretty much always ranks that on the top of the list is if you like him, playfully touch his arm, if he says something funny, tap his hand, or if you feel the connection or the vibe on the date, go
Right.
ahead and grab his hand and hold his hand while you go across the street. Like, I don't think any man's going to pull away from you grabbing his hands. Like that's so intimate and so affectionate. And men would like that. And when you greet somebody on a date, it's okay to give them a hug on the first date, right? It's not
Mhm.
all this COVID stuff going on anymore. So it's time to go back to that. Like, I'm not a big fan of handshakes on a first date. So
Oh, me neither.
even a small hug, that's great. So yeah.
Yeah, I talked with somebody a long time ago who was an expert in body language, and they were like, when you're on a date or when you're with somebody, that little, like the touches is showing the man how to that you're encouraging that you like him.
Yeah.
And another thing was the leaning in or the leaning
Mhm.
back. When you're leaning back, it shows disinterest. When you lean forward, it shows interest. I
Yeah.
think body language is a big deal. And I think personal touching, affectionate in a simple way, not a gross way, of
Right.
course, is important. Otherwise, how's he going to know that you're even interested in a second date?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not interested, don't freaking touch him. That'll tell him. That'll tell him right there.
Okay. Number 10 is true partnership. Men want a teammate, not a rival, not someone to compete with, not
Yeah.
someone who critiques them. Focus on we, not me. And just as you're talking about plans with him later, you can say, oh, we should go to this boba place, or, oh, I know a good ramen place I want to take you to. So just really focus on that and make him feel special and that you're interested, right? Because the last thing we want is for two people to go on a date and they don't know where they stand with that person at the end. So it's okay to
Yeah.
say, wow, I actually had a really great time with you, Christine. I would love to see you again. Like, those things are great if a man or a woman expresses how they felt about you on a date. So those are all
I
good
love that.
things.
Those are great things.
Yeah.
I think that there's so many mixed signals and people just don't know anymore. They just not feeling connected. It's post um, COVID, and people are just so unsure about dating these days. And I think it's important to make sure that people are communicating and being honest with each other and saying, that was amazing. I would love to see you again. And it's okay to express those things. Um, it's it's funny that time goes so fast on this episode of these shows, but we've got a few minutes left. May is actually coming back for part 2 for New Year's Eve. Or New Year's Day, what is the date on that? I don't even remember. But next week, May is coming back for part 2, and we're going to talk about the same thing, but the opposite. What women want from their husbands or husbands to be. And I think it's really important that we wrap it with the women because, here we are saying, a woman needs to keep the peace and the comfort and the joy and the love in the relationship. But there are things that women do want as well. And I love that we're going to cover that next week. That's very
Yeah.
exciting. So
Yes.
I'm very excited to have you back, May.
Thank you, Christine. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We have some great shows coming up in the new year, and I'm in Mexico for the new year, and that's going to be exciting and do a bunch of fun stuff. And May, you are a matchmaker, and I'd love for you to just tell everybody how they can find you.
Yes. You can find me at twoasianmatchmakers.com. I'm always on the lookout for great Asian women to be part of my database, and it's free to get set up if you're a good match. I help men of all ethnicities who want to date Asian women and all across the US. I would love to work with you if you're 35 to 75. So you can contact me at twoasianmatchmakers.com.
Is that TWO?
Yes, TWO, Asian Matchmakers with an S.com. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, May. I can't wait to have the episode for next week. And to all of you listening, Merry Christmas. And we look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same place. And until then, let's just keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.